Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Tonight, we have a amazing show planned for you. The last sleep until GenCon. Even though technically it's not, but it's pretty close to the last sleep. That's what I'm going to say. Tonight, we're going to be discussing GenCon in full, everything about it. Kind of talk a little bit about what's going to happen for the three events. If you want to play, if you don't want to play. How you can get a hold of me and contact me if you want to hang out. I will be there in person pretty much Thursday afternoon through Sunday night. And then we're also going to be talking about the German World Qualifier, which I just feel like calling it the Hanover Open. I have no idea why I feel like calling it that, but that's what I feel like calling it. Even though AMG did not title it the Hanover Open. And we're also going to be talking about my defeat at the hands of Deslin here in the next few minutes as well. With that being said, let's bring JJ, Jeremiah, No Hat, Psych J. How are you tonight, sir?
Jeremiah.
Yeah, that's like my new nickname for you.
I'm doing all right, man. Had a very, very long, busy day yesterday, going out with the family here locally. Over to Lido Key Beach, which is over on the Gulf Coast here in Florida. Had a great time. Got home really, really late last night and spent the day recovering today. Everybody is really badly sunburnt, but we had a great time yesterday.
Well, that's good. I got to spend my weekend again in the hospital. So we had to take my son back to the hospital Saturday morning. Essentially, he was having issues with complications with his Crohn's. So I've been at the hospital all day yesterday and the majority of the day today. So that's been super fun. But hopefully he gets to come home tomorrow. I guess we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely, man.
Other than that, it's been a nice weekend. The weather's been good up here at Michigan, at least. I mean, we have good weather. It's not, horrible. I did not get my practice games in for GenCon. I had games scheduled and I just couldn't pull it out because I didn't want to leave my kid just sitting alone in the hospital by himself. So I did not get any practice for GenCon, or as you could tell, if you watched the earlier match on Greg's stream, I got no practice there either. Like, especially taking 2 damage on boost there at the end and then just losing boost. So
it was close for the majority of the game, and then just sometimes with no practice you get triggers on your card sometimes, and that can snowball sometimes into like a larger lead. So yeah, that can hurt definitely.
I don't think that I used Wolfpack once, and then the one time I did trigger the last time I triggered Satine, I think it was a mistake. Though not having the ability to focus there, I should have just taken deplete and taken the focus instead of the disarm and the evade.
Yeah. Ferrex in the chat, let it be known that Tanner chose to let the puppy starve to spend time with his son. Oh man, no, but I did like that initial Satine trigger. That was actually really good, really clutch, getting in all those extra tokens that help minimize the damage on your ships. I gotta say, after seeing Satine being used both in Hanover and on your game, I definitely am like looking at that card again to see like how I can maximize that particular cruise effect. I definitely want to try Y-Wings with like bombs and stuff to see if they can like reload and target lock on and disengage and turn around and see how that works out. So yeah,
because you could just give them an evade and it still protects them,
Yeah, exactly.
And they're already disarmed anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Satine is key here, right? Because she's like the cheapest coordinating crew you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you got to take a deplete, but I don't know if all ships care about that. There's a couple of times with Stub taking that deplete, it wouldn't have mattered because he was going to shoot range 0, right?
Yeah.
I guess, and I think it's just weird, like I should have stuck with my opening engagement and not gone down the bottom side of the board and I should have just stuck going up and then to the left because that's how I was
Yeah,
positioned. Um,
yeah,
but I thought, hey, I'm gonna be cagey and come down to the side because if I could shoot over fast enough, I can pick off Anakin, who I know is coming through that center there. But then I couldn't pick off Anakin, and when Killer moved into the center, it was I couldn't. I tried. I forgot you can't boost with a white maneuver, so Killer
yeah,
not being able to boost into that center there and block it up for Anakin probably was the bigger mistake, honestly.
yeah. That was definitely tough, but still, overall, enjoyable game, and good job to Desi pulling off that one.
It was actually fun to run,
Yeah,
compared to what I had, like what I've been doing before. So, um, I was surprised the Rebel or Republic off was going to be any fun to watch personally. Um, but
there's a lot of ships. Not for nothing. It was a lot,
yeah,
but it was a really good game to watch. It was fun and interesting.
awesome. All right. Well, why don't we talk? I Before we get going too far, and this would be a little bit more fun. So I'm gonna tell you the question, and post it in the chat. And you're welcome to commentate, and we will talk about your opinions here.
Okay.
So usually I kind of been trying to do like a fun opening segment. Tonight, what I want to do is what would be a good top 2 or top 1 pilot. So if you're in the chat, just give us one. I don't want like 40 of these things, but give me a pilot and maybe a quick ability, right? Because what do we want to see coming out of this card pack, right? So we already see a crazy looking Poe, which is just insane to me. What would be a great card to put into that pack or two? So JJ, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yeah. So something that I want to see now, especially since I'm starting to rewatch Rebels again, is an I6 Hera Syndulla pilot for the VCX. I think that especially since we already have an I6 A wing and an I6 B wing, I think it makes sense to bring back Hera as an I6 on the Ghost. I think that it would not be too terrible since that ship really can't do any repositions, but just having her at that level would be really good. Having her an ability on her to help her coordinate to other ships at using a charge ability, I think would probably be the best fit for her since she does fill that role in the Star Wars Rebels series. And I think that's very thematic for her, and that would be helpful to help her bring her back into standard as a pilot for the VCX.
All right. So the first one that we get, it looks like Ray in a T-70 or Ray in a T-65. So it wouldn't be a
Yeah,
T-65 though. Could you get a T-65 in Resistance? You couldn't, could you?
I mean, if you technically bought the core set, you do have a 265 and a dial. So it would be easy for them to just print the cardboard out for that.
In Resistance though? Because you couldn't have Ray in Rebels technically, right?
No, mm-mm. It would
I
be a
mean,
resistance card, but with a T65 model.
okay. So I guess I mean that could work. Otherwise, putting Ray in a T-70 or give me a dual card, right? One I can play in both factions.
Yeah. The the other card I have in mind would be oh my god, jeez, what's her name? Well, it would technically be a T85, but I would see her as a T70 pilot. It would be the mother of Tam from the Resistance show. Mrs. Doza. That's how I'm going to refer to her. But basically, having her as a ace for the Republic, probably an I5 pilot. For the Resistance in the T70, I think that would be cool to bring another character from that show into the game, and probably giving her a little bit of a like a reposition bonus for her, able to like open her wings after a boost or something or a barrel roll. I think that would be something really cool for her for the Resistance.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, Sandy, I think Tora Doza, I think that would be great, except for we don't have the ship that they fly. So like I don't know, I don't know what ship you would put it in if they're not creating us new ships, right? Um I could be wrong though. I don't think Tora flies any other ships. Do they?
Not to my recollection, no.
Um, yeah. So I don't. I mean, I guess we could just branch out and put them in another one. But you know this. The next question I have: do you think that we're gonna get the Hot Shots pack before we get any of the re-releases?
If I'm not mistaken, the Hot Shots and Aces pack is scheduled for quarter 4, I believe, from their last announcement. But it just depends on the supply chain. If they're able to get it out in time, it might be pushed out to quarter 1 of next year, which will be, I believe, the reprints will be coming out quarter 2 of next year, if I remember that correctly.
Okay. For me, I think one of them that I had was there was a guy called Tycho, and I can't remember what he did, but there was a guy called Tycho for the Empire.
Oh, huh.
And I don't remember. So the question I have is because I don't remember what ship he flew. I can't remember if he is in Legends and if they're going to not be able to use him, or if he's actually like a name character in the movie, right?
Right.
But he's like a defected Jedi, like to some extent, right? Like he's not a Jedi, but he's like a defected. He's defected from the rebellion. He was part of the he was part of like one of the recruits that Luke had. And I don't, again, I believe, you could almost create it where you put a card in there. And see, this is where I would love to see like rogue cards, like put them in an A-wing, and then he flies an A-wing if you fly it in Rebel, and you flip the card over, right? And I get him in, I get him in a TIE fighter, right?
Yeah.
Not that I need any more TIE fighter pilots, I guess. I guess I really don't need any more TIE fighter pilots. But
who's your second choice for a pilot?
my second choice? See, here's where I would Thrawn. I would just say, give me Thrawn as a pilot. He did fly something. Throw him in a Lambda. That's why I asked the question, will we get reprints first?
Yeah.
But, give me Thrawn in a Lambda. I know technically I don't think Thrawn actually flies the Lambda. It's like it's another type of cargo type ship. Or give me Hawks and Empire. There you go. For fuck's sake. Like, give me in my Hot Shots pack. Make it big. I'll pay $40 for this. You give me the ability to have Hawks, just like they did with the Fangs in Rebels. Give me a Hawk in Empire. Hell yes.
Speaking of the Hawk, for Scum, I would like to see Spice Runner Pro Initiative 4 for the Scum. Like having his ability be similar to what he does now. He can spend 2 charges to take an extra action. That would be really, really cool to see that for Scum.
Yeah. Do you know, does Gavin does he fly a T-65 at all or no?
I believe he does, yes.
Because that would be kind of cool to see if we aren't going to get him back. If we're not going to get him actually E-Wings back, can we get him at least in an X-Wing?
Yeah, I believe in Legends he does, and E-Wings were confirmed in the Poe Dameron comic recently. So, I mean, heck, that could very well come, yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it would be Thrawn. I would really like to see Thrawn somehow come out of this. But that's, again, I'm just very selfish that way.
Yeah. Corn with a Force and an X-Wing? I don't know. It depends on how they build that character in canon.
I mean, does he have a Force technically?
He does have the Force in Legends. Yes, he actually is one of the people that helped set up the New Jedi Academy in Legends, but he hasn't been at least directly confirmed for current canon as of yet.
Okay. And but we did get some hints, I think, in Obi-Wan, didn't we?
Yeah, there are definitely hints there that his parents were there. It would be interesting. And actually in the chat, second sister in the TIE V1, that would actually be really cool. Seeing more Inquisitors in the V1 for the Empire, I would definitely like to see that.
Yeah, because you could put Second Sister in there, and that would be like a whole new character, right? I mean, technically speaking,
Yeah.
we would get a whole new character at that point then.
Yeah.
Anyone else you would like to see?
Off the bat, well, they'll probably have to create a new ship, but probably seeing the undercover identity for Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars when he's flying around with Cad Bane. I always forget his name, but that would be cool to see a version of Kenobi for Scum at Initiative 5, flying maybe like the Rogue class starfighter. I know it's a brand new ship, but it would still be cool to see like his character make an appearance as a pilot card.
And do you think we're going to get to see Din Djarin in as a pilot for Naboo, and they'll give us like a Naboo dial that we can have in Scum?
That would be fantastic, actually. Um,
Because that way
I
they
almost
could do that without having to like actually put you could do that without having to put anything,
yeah.
like any new material out.
If they did that, I would absolutely run them in the silver N1 because that's going to be like the closest look to his N1, the convention exclusive one. I would love to get that Din Djarin on that model just to place him on the table. Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't have a Jace, do we? In First Order?
Uh, no,
Because Jace would be a good pilot too, I think. Putting
yeah,
Jace in there.
yeah,
And what I would do is give him like the if it were me, I would give him the ability where, because he gets angry, right? Like, and he designed that. Didn't he designed the droid we just got, didn't we?
yeah,
I can't remember if he does that. I haven't gotten all the way through Resistance yet.
yeah,
And the question is, could you just put him in, and not just the not just put him as a racer? You could put him in whatchamacallit. You could put him in Resistance as well. Yes, Jace Rucklin.
yeah. I would also like to see a little more crews to come out for like different ships, but I doubt we'll see that in the Hot Shots and Aces pack. I think what they're focusing more on like pilots and stuff, but it would be nice to see some of the other crew from different casts from the Mandalorian in there, specifically like Gina Carano's character. I think that not having her in there is kind of criminal to since she's such a big character for the Mandalorian. Also, uh, Boba Fett's right hand girl. I forget her name, but yeah, Mina Wei, the actress. Having her as a crew for Scum and CIS would be fantastic as well. Something similar to for her ability, I would assume would be like adding crits to, or at least changing results into crits. I think that would be her her wheelhouse for like her ability since she is a marksman. So I think that would be nice crew to have, or at least even a gunner. So
Yeah, that would be cool to have the gunner. And I really do think I'm gonna go back to Jace a second. I really think Jace would be a good pilot. And the ability you can give them, right, is you could give them the ability where they like can damage themselves, kind of like we get in the Empire, kind of like a Ruthless, where they can
yeah,
damage themselves as long as it doesn't kill themselves, and give like do a coordinate function, or give other characters focuses or things like that, or maybe a jam feature, right? That's a range 3 jam, because that's what First Order seems to like more than coordinate.
yeah,
you know
that's their token of choice. Yeah,
yeah, so you could do something like that. I don't know, I find that, and again, you can really put them kind of in both of the things, but I think that's a good way, because we know he transitions officially from in Resistance officially to the First Order, so we
yeah.
know that he's canon and he's part of the First Order, and you make him a very low initiative. I
Actually, now
don't
that I think about it, is his oh yeah, there you go. DT 793. Yeah, that's right. He is a gunner already. But yeah, it would be nice to see him as a pilot. Yeah. I think in the show they only have him running just the FO fighter. I don't believe he ever flew the bomber version, but I would definitely like to see him in an FO TIE fighter at least.
Yeah. So you think we're going to get any separatist?
So unless they decide to re-release the Sheathipede shuttle, I would like to see a Dooku pilot for the Sheathipede. That would be really cool to have him as an I-5 potentially coordinate with his ability, affecting the field kind of like Fen Rao does with the Rebels. I think that would be a nice piece for the Separatists.
Yeah, because I think with separatists you just make up pilots, right? Like there's not any real. Because Dooku didn't have any specific guard, did they? Did he?
In Attack of the Clones, he was guarded by the Petronaki Aces, but other than that, no, not that I can think of. They could also put Saj Ventress as well as a pilot for the Sheathipede. That could be a potential pilot as well. It'll be nice to see her make her appearance in CIS.
Yeah, that's if they give us a Sheathipede. I don't think we're going to get Dooku, and I don't think we're going to get a Sheathipede personally. It would be nice to have a small coordinator. Yeah, honestly, but you could put Asajj Ventress in Separatist, like without giving her own ship. You could put her technically in the Sith Infiltrator, right?
Oh yeah,
you could do that. You could also put her in a Beelzebub, I believe, because I don't think Grievous is the only one that flies that ship. I think she might have flown. I'm trying to remember back to her book, because that's the other Jedi, that the Dark Jedi. What's his name? God, I can't remember that guy's name now. The guy she falls in love with, Quinlan Vos.
Quinlan Vos. Yeah.
Yes, that's the other pilot. When do we get a Quinlan Vos pilot too?
I don't remember what ship he's flown though. Like I'm trying to like rack my brain back from the book itself. The one time that he does appear in the Clone Wars, I don't remember him flying a ship either. So I mean, maybe as a crew member, he could definitely show up for the Republic and probably the Separatists as well for his crew card, or it can even be a dual side kind of like Palpatine. That'd be kind of an interesting design for that member.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get any crew. Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna get that lucky. I don't think we're gonna get a crew pack. It'd be nice if they just release a crew pack, though. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he would be reserved strictly for like a next expansion for like another ship that would come out, and not necessarily for like a card pack that would be mainly pilots only. So,
yeah. All right. Well, why don't we talk list? I'm kind of excited to talk list. And I'm going to call it the Hanover Open. I don't care what anyone says anymore. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah. That's it.
All right. Good. Agreed. We're doing it. We're doing it, baby. All right. So we're going to start. So this was over in Germany. I don't know why I came up with Hanover other than I think that's the city that they did it in. But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Either which way, they had a amazing list that happened to win the whole thing, and thank God, because the list underneath it has a character in it that I didn't want to win. I don't not want it to win at all on purpose. I actively root against it every time, no matter who's flying. But for the winner of the whole Galactic Open in Germany is Adrian Dirtrich, and he is running a Seppi list with Grievous and Cad Bane, 2 bombardment drones, DFS 81, and a Vulture. On his Cad Bane, he has the typical loadout, the HLC ion cannon, but he adds elusive and proxies instead to go in there and be able to drop everything. Grievous has got the outmaneuver and pervy and plating. That's whatever. We all know that that's like the standard loadout unless you put afterburners on him. There's only 2 loadouts you can give Grievous, it seems. Exactly. Then we have 2 bombardment drones, one with proxies and indies and one with seismics and clusters, which is I like that combo. Then we have DFS with an energy shell and then a lone droid with a Discord missile. Pretty good list. It's very similar to one of the ones that was ran a couple weeks ago. and did very well in the GSP tournament.
Yeah.
This one, instead of that one, I believe had what, 2 more vultures in it. Instead, it was like a 5 vulture list instead of these 4 ships here.
Yeah, and I do like the asymmetric build on this one here, right? Normally, with most separatist lists, you have the drones usually with the same type of loadout here, but definitely a really, really interesting choice of mixing up the arms here between the 2 bombardment drones. Makes it easy for your opponent to kind of forget which one is which. And I do like the combo with the seismic charges because you actually do have the potential to launch that seismic charge on a bombardment drone that's parked on a rock and hit another one that's like at distance 1 or actually beyond distance 1 from the rock that you're on with a bombardment drone and not take damage from that seismic charge. So that's a really interesting way to do it. I wonder how many times he was able to get off the cluster mines off the bombardment drone. But that is a really nice loadout. I definitely like this list a lot.
So now tell me how I don't swerve to this list for GenCon, or do we
Uh,
save that for the GenCon discussion? Maybe we save that
we'll
for the
save it.
digest.
We'll save it for Gen Con. Yeah, yeah.
Because now I want to run this list. Not that my Cad Bane ever fucking lives, but now I want to run this list. Like all of a sudden it's like,
Do you have
this.
the Do you have the practice time though to make sure you get this down because it's different. It's different from what you're
It is.
usually running. So
Yeah. Do I have practice time? Not in the same way with the current list I have, but
yeah,
I do have practice with droid. I mean, you got to think I run mostly separatist for the
yeah,
most part. So
yeah. So looking at the runner up here, we have Thomas Schulte. He, also goes by Catch on Discord. He's running the Galactic Empire list. We have 2 ISP jingoists, one with cloaking device and one with over 2 modulators. We have a Wampa with elusive, and we have a double decimators coming in here. First one is Captain Oiken with ruthless Death Troopers, Fifth Brother, and Dauntless, and Morniki with ruthless Darth Vader, 000, and BT1 Gunner on this here. I gotta say, this is a really, really interesting list. I do like having the double decimators on here. Oiken with Death Troopers is fantastic. And if you're not familiar with that particular upgrade, it is a double crew upgrade that prevents you from removing your stress if you're within range 1 of Death Troopers. And in the meta where people can bump and take those red focuses, and then try to clear it. If you're anywhere near Oiken at that point, you're going to be denied any mods. And then you pair that off with Darth Vader, which you can spend a force to either remove a green token or that ship takes a damage. That is automatic damage that's going into that ship with Vader. And then reinforce that with 000, who can give out a stress, or you give Morniki a calculate token. And then BT1 that gets out crits if you're stressed. So these 2 ships working together, getting into the center and just laying waste to other opponents. Really, really good combo between the 2 decimators on here.
yeah. Now the only thing I would say is, well, the first thing I would say is yay for elusive Wampa. So I'm just gonna,
Yes.
I'm excited by that. That's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
So, the second thing is the question I have is this Death Troopers, Fifth Brother, Dauntless. You could almost, I like, for 7 points you can take a gauntlet, and I think it has the same loadout, but I'd have to build it. The question would become is what's so special about Oinkin that you would take Oinkin other than he can shoot at range 0?
So it's specifically Oiken can treat range 0 techs as range 1. So that means that he's getting all the mods at range 0 and he's getting the additional dice at range 0. Whereas when you're shooting back at him at range 0, you're not getting anything. You're not getting the extra die and you're not getting any mods. So that makes him a much more credible threat at range 0. So that's what makes him particularly dangerous. He does get that big shot at range 0 where he wants to be.
Gotcha. All right, I like this list, and I apologize. I thought this was the Vader list. I thought this guy was flying the Vader, but he's not. So I did not actually see this list. So even better. All right, top 4. The first one we have is basically Crispy's list, right? Like, I don't think there's anything different here.
No, this is almost a carbon copy of it. And if I remember correctly, Corriton actually reached out to Crispy to help him teach him how to run this list. And yeah, good job. He taught him well, making top 4 here in the Hanover.
Yeah. So we're going to move past that one. Necklace God next with an Emond, Kath, and Q9 list. With Q9 with the Mandalorian, the Child, BT1, Babu Fink, and Razor Crest, along with Eamon Azamine, when the Fire Spray, Electro Chafe Missiles, Savage Press, Slave 1, and Veterans Hellgunner. And I'm a little surprised they use Savage instead of Maul here, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Maul probably is the better call for that. But I mean, you do have those one-off situations where you need to reinforce or do a full stop with Q9. And if you have it set up, you can give Q9 a focus as well. So it is situational, but I mean, I do prefer Maul. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Kath with Fearless, Ahsoka Tano, Seismix, Marauder, and Veteran Tailgunner. So basically, double tap. Both of them are double tapping if you can get into the mix, which I'm assuming that's how they use those. Pretty good. Q9 with Babu Fink is definitely unique. I won't lie and say that there's definitely a unique build there, because I'm assuming it's the idea where you can take your stress and do something crazy stressful, and then just throw it on him, and then you don't have to worry about it for 2 turns.
Yeah, and using this particular variant here, I mean, you're getting the force here from the Child. It's getting you're getting the recurring charge back with the Mandalorian, and you have access to a white reinforced for the Razor Crest. Really helps you to stay put wherever you need to, and still get all those mods that you need on Q9, and take minimal damage coming back. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they must only be using Eamon for the I4, because Koshka Frost is what, an I3? You can use Koshka Frost and like
Yeah.
same loadout for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. Same loadout for the most part, but yeah, definitely having two fire sprays at I4 definitely helps you with the movement of both of those ships, and also shooting down over the lower initiative ships, especially when you're facing off against like the Empire or you're facing off CIS. You're usually initiative matching at initiative 4, so that really helps you out.
All right, now on to the top 8.
So first one here is Kai Krupp with the Galactic Empire running a Vader swarm. He's running the X1 Vader with Hate, Afterburners, Elusive, and Pattern Analyzer. Howl Runner with Targeting Computer, Elusive, and Swarm Tactics. Iden Versio with Ion Cannon, Elusive, 2 Jingoists, 1 with Contraband, 1 with Cloaking Device, and another Elusive Wampa here to round off that list. I believe this is the first tournament that I'm starting to see a trend of like offsetting, or at least different loadouts for the Jingoists, so that way they can each fulfill like different roles. I like the Cloaking Device on the Jingoists. That definitely helps them make really good objective getters, since they can use that decloak to get into position and like get behind the or get an objective and run away. So it's interesting how this list is starting to evolve a little bit. The Hate, Afterburners, Elusive, Pattern Analyzer, and Vader. Not my favorite loadout for X1 Vader, but still can be pretty effective.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hate in there personally. That's just I get it. I understand why. And my guess is I didn't see Kai fly this. I would wager that they're flying closer in formation, and your Jingoists and Wampa are kind of off. So I'm assuming we're splitting it up into a 3 and then a 2. Put Iden, Howl, and Darth together. I don't know. I don't like Hate, but I understand why. I would. And over Elusive, I guess you have Pattern Analyzer, right? So why not, right? You can use your Elusive, and then you're just gonna Talon or K-Churn here. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, Cormac Higgins running Republic with a Hound with Yoda, 7th Fleet Gunner, Agile Gunner, and Mace with Heightened Perception, R4, and CLT, Obi, with CLT, Elusive, and Shield upgrade. Anakin and the Ada with Compassion, Patience, Marksmanship, Jamming Beam, R2D2, and a Shield upgrade.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see like a Jedi list with support coming back in, and it fits at exactly 20 points too. It's having like these great Jedi's on the field. The Anakin Skywalker loadout is something that I haven't seen before, especially with R2D2 and Shield upgrade. It can be pretty good to just keep your Anakin healthy. Or you can even use R2D2 to remove like bombs off the board, which is really really huge. So you can use that defensively that way as well. But yeah, I do like this list a lot. There's definitely a lot of mods here for the Jedi users to use, and they can grab objectives as they need, and still have plenty of mods on offense and defense. So the next one here we have Dale Cromwell in the Galactic Empire, also using the Vader X1 Swarm here. This one a little bit different here. We have Vader with Brilliant Evasion, Afterburners Fire Control System, Elusive and Pattern Analyzer, Vizier in the Reaper with Palpatine, Moff Gideon with False Transponder Codes, the Thread Tracers and Ruthless. Two Deadman Switch Jingoists, and then Wampa with Ruthless as well. This one is a little bit more of a suicide list here for the Jingoists. They're basically going to be the front runners that go into the mix, and they become the ruthless fodder for the rest of the list here to guarantee hits going into their opponents, and basically just trying to take them out. This is kind of a bit more of a kill list for the Empire.
Yes, yeah, and you want to know something funny? I saw
Mhm.
one of his games, and he flew one of those jinglists through a rock. And I was like, damn, why would you do that? And it's like, oh, I know why you did that, because you're going to put him at 1 or 2 health and ruthless that cocksucker
Yeah.
and just kill everything and start killing everything off. You're going to use it as a bomb. Holy crap. Never thought about running through a rock for that before.
Yeah, I mean it's risky, but at the same time, it's like you if you can set it up perfectly, it's so good, chef's kiss. Yeah,
Yeah. The next list is literally my favorite list of all times. And this is a list I actually like. A version of this is what I wanted to run in 2.0. I wanted to run this at 2.5. I don't own all these ships. This is a 5 whisper list, and Andrew, suck it. I don't care what anybody says. This list made top fucking cut, baby. And I would 100% run the hell out of this if I owned enough of these. I actually was on the path to own 5 whispers, but I couldn't get enough people to buy my damn bombers. Once I hit the 3 packs, and then I was able to sell 2 of my bombers, but not like any more of them. I was like, I can't just keep buying these packs. I'm gonna have like a million bombers for no reason. Um, but this is a Nightfall with Fanatical, Prockets, Sensors, and the Jamming Suite. Whirlwind with Predator, Fanatical, Prockets, Sensor Scramblers, Jamming Suite. 2709, 3709s, all identical with Sensor Scramblers, Fanatical, Prockets, and Jamming Suite. The one thing I will 100% disagree with him in is his Whirlwind build. I would not run Whirlwind with Prockets. Sorry. That's just not what I would not do it. I would 100% run.
optics,
Huh?
optics.
Yes, I would run advanced optics, and I'd run either clusters or concussion missiles. I
Yeah,
just would not. I'm not a fan, and I would probably either put Fanatical or what? Yeah, he has Fanatical, so I would either put what's the Proud
project.
Tradition.
Mhm.
So you can put Proud Tradition on in case there's nobody around. But I really like Whirlwind with the ability to have advanced optics, because I've used it before where I've got 3 focuses and I roll 2 hits and a blank and spend a focus on a concussion or a cluster missile, shoot a second time. And it's like having it it's like having a Malorus. That's what this feels like. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I do like the theme overall. You're basically going for the spike damage here, especially if you're able to get at least 2 of those bullseyes lined up. That's going to be a potential 10 damage going into a single ship. which can really do some really big damage. That's not very many ships that can survive that kind of attack. So it's definitely interesting to see this kind of list big cut. And it is something that it is really difficult to get in person. So I wonder how many he actually bought and how many he actually borrowed. That'd be I'm kind of interested in how he was able to get that achieved. So moving on here to the top 16 here, we have Benedict Link in the Separatist Alliance. He has Grievous in the Belbalob with Outmaneuver and Pervium. Bombardment Drone here with Proxies and Independent Calculates. DFS 081 with Discord Missiles and Independent Calculations. Django Fett with Notorious, Palpatine, Proximity Mines, False Transponder Code, Slave One, and Boba Fett. And then a Separatist drone with Discord missiles and independent calculations here. So this is kind of like a two ace and then filler with that, with Django and Grievous being the aces here. Pretty solid list. You're able to. I actually saw the game that he was flying here, where he was facing off against the First Order, and he basically held the three drones in the back to collect points on assault, and then just had Grievous and Django go up aggressively on one of the sides to tie up the First Order. And those drones just held their space for the majority of the match. They probably gained almost twice their worth in points, in objective points. And the enemy had the opportunity to either try to finish off the ace and make up the difference, or try to go after the objective points. And he ended up taking the win, and it was a really, really good match.
Yep. Next list is Bobby with a Boba, Koshka, Kanan list, and Boba has FTC, Maul, VT, and Electro Chafe Missiles, Notorious, and Slave 1. Koshka Frost has Ahsoka Tano, Veteran Tail Gunner, the FTC Marksmanship, and Marauder. And then little old Kanan Jarrus with the Child and Patience, which is not your favorite combo, JJ.
Yeah, it's not. I do appreciate giving Kanan 2 extra force with the child, which is really good. And patience is a good way to also recover the force in the event that you don't suffer damage on an attack. But it does require you to be a little more aggressive with Kanan, which with 2 fire sprays you don't necessarily want to be too aggressive with Kanan, because you want him to kind of help buff the defense on your fire sprays to make sure that they outlast your opponent's ships. But still, a lot of respect for this particular list. Koshka Frost at Initiative 3 can do a lot of damage, and Boba Fett is, of course, Boba Fett can take on a lot of ships and come out the top.
Yep. Next one
here is Martin Espinal with the First Order. He had Backdraft with Fanatical Advanced Optics and Special Forces Gunner. Muse in the FO Fighter with Automated Targeting Priority and Shield Upgrade. Really interesting on that build, but I'll get back to that. Malorus here in the TIE FO with Marksmanship and Cluster Missiles. Gideon Hask in the Z-Class Shuttle with Proud Tradition, Elusive, Biohex, Crypt Codes, Tactical Officer, and Agent Terex. And then Major Von Reg with Daredevil, Proton Rockets, and Shield Upgrade. Really interesting twist on this style of list here, using Gideon Hask more as a coordinating force for the First Order actually increases the effectiveness of this list. And then you combine it here with Muse that can take away stress to help out the rest of the list whenever they need to do a hard maneuver afterwards. Really interesting way to make sure that you have that the flexibility of your dial for the First Order here. And then Major Von Reg here acting as the hammer here with Proton Rockets, and Daredevil can really do a lot of damage moving at Initiative 6 and basically having the option for a double reposition. And if you have that coordinate from Gideon Hask and the Z Shuttle, you can easily give them a token early on, so that way Von Reg can double reposition. Is really, really good. It's a really good list.
Remember when Von Reg used to be able to have a shield upgrade and a hull upgrade at the same time? I
Yes.
remember that. That was so
Yeah.
much fun.
Fun, you say?
Shoot at Von Ray. It's just saying. Think about it the same way. It's like shooting at Anakin. Sometimes Anakin, you gonna die? Nope, you're not gonna die. Okay. No,
Yeah.
nothing. No, no. Unless you're
But then
Y-wing
the
Anakin, then you always fucking die.
yeah.
All right, then we have Arnie with a Grievous, CAD, DFS, Django list again, which we keep seeing. Grievous is standard. CAD is the same one that we saw earlier, except for it has Treacherous. Django gets Notorious and Count Dooku, Proton Bombs, FTC, Delayed Fuses, which I am assuming for the Proton Bombs, so he can leave them there to block off a lane. Slave 1 and VTG. DFS has energy shells instead of Discord, so that's really the only difference there. Again, nothing special. That's just kind of the list that we've seen made popular by Sasha Wagner. So
Yeah.
and then we have Fun Walk. We're not going to go over this list either because there's really not much difference. This is a crispy list too. So except for this one has Scorch in it, which is a little bit different. Crispy doesn't have Crispy does have Scorch, doesn't he?
Yeah, it does have Scorch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is almost identical to Crispy's list. I don't really see a big need to focus on it. I do see advanced optics on Kyle. And Crispy doesn't run advanced optics, does he?
Yes, he does actually, because that's
Okay.
what helps him get the triple hits on a checks mix roll. So it's
All right.
that's good.
There you go then. Never mind. Identical to Crispy list.
Yeah.
What's the next one, JJ?
Next one here is run by Nicholas, also known as Yule Ooze, running a Scum and Villainy list. The first one is Han Solo here in the YT 1300 with Trick Shot, Quill, Ahsoka Tano, Engine Upgrade, and Lando with the Falcon title. Iman Zaman with Chaff Missiles, Child, Proximity Mines, and the Andrasta title. And then Cass Scarlet with Trick Shot, Jamming Beam, Electro Chafe Missiles, Perceptive Co-Pilot, Marauder, and Skilled Bombardier. Really interesting 3-ship list here, especially with Han Solo, a ship that we don't see as much, even though he's a 6-pointer, which is cheaper than a lot of these medium bases. Can do a lot of work here, and he has a passive force here with the Ahsoka Tano, and that engine upgrade just helps him get around obstacles as needed. Combined with Trick Shot, he's usually rolling 4 to 5 dice with his ability, potential to 6 if he has them stressed, and he can definitely put in a lot of hurt at initiative 1. Eamon Zaman with electric chaff missiles, really interesting, and then proximity mines as well. Really nice variant on that particular list there. And if you chase Iman just to go with the child, to go get the free locks with the child, you're going to probably eat a proximity mine if you're behind them. So it's a really interesting list. I like it.
All right. Next one is Surfing Finn. Another Stillman Villain list. This one is definitely unique, though. This one I've not seen used all that often. 2 Hawks. So we have Gamut Key with Hondo and Overtuned. We have Paylob in that Hawk, which is crazy because Paylob is 5 fucking points, man. 5 points for that Hawk. With Dead Man Switch, IG-11, which I've never seen that on the board other than when AMG ran it. Notorious and Moldy Crow. Then we have an Escape Craft with Composure and Tactic Officer. Sarisu with Proton Torpedoes, which is I can't believe you could get Proton Torpedoes on Sarisu.
Yeah.
That's just that's bad planning on their behalf. And then Manaru with Miggs Mayfield, Hotshot Tail Blaster, Punishing One, R3, and Ion Cannon.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Like I don't understand a Paylob at 5 points, I guess. That's like the first thing I don't understand.
So Paylob is the secret sauce here, honestly. With the ability to actually have Moldy Crow, that's a 3-dice gun that's on the table for Scum. With Notorious, if you're taking shots at Paylob, you're going to get Strange, and Paylob is a lower initiative, so he's going to shoot back at you, Strange. And then on top of that, the combo with IG-11, which means that he can potentially stock up on focuses and then on his turn he has 2 calculates that he can add on for a total of 4 different tokens. So if he's really focused fired on, he has all those tokens to really maximize his defense and offense as needed. And then finally, if you're able to finally take him down, he's going to dead man switch and blow you up. So he's definitely a very big distraction. And with that 180 arc, he's going to be able to steal tokens from other ships that are going to be worried about taking a proton torpedo from Sarisu. So it's a really sneaky list because you have to deal with one or the other. And as Sarisu range controls correctly, it also provides that defensive reroll for Paylob on there. So if you're focusing on Paylob and Sarisu's nearby, it's going to be really difficult to take out that Paylob, and the rest of the list is going to come in and kind of take out that ship. Manaru, another one here that's sneaky. Having Mix Mayfield and Hotshot Tail Blaster, potential to have the double shot from front and back if you're getting around Manaru. And he has Punishing One, so even if he's not using any of the other abilities, it's still a 3 die attack coming out the front at Initiative 4, and they can really soften up somebody for a Paylob to potentially finish up. And then Gamut Key, of course, to help keep all those additional tokens for either himself or Paylob, and can also coordinate with Hondo to funny enough, you can Hondo give the coordinate to Sirisu to get a focus, and then jam one of Paylob's focus tokens off, and then still have 2 calculates come in, and you have a double amount of shot with Sirisu. It's fantastic. It's really great.
Yeah, I think the other play is, can you coordinate? You could coordinate IG-11 too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you could just go in with IG-11 and let him get down to the end there, and then coordinate a focus or coordinate something, with to Paylob to let him keep that IG-11 active, and
Yep.
then just go in and blow up. I mean, I get, especially if you need it for the win. I don't know how much damage does IG-11 do. Is it the same as Dead Man Switch?
It's 1 crit for that one, and then Dead Man Switch is 1 hit. So yeah.
So everybody at range 1 is taking a hit crit.
Hit crit, yeah.
And do you take them in any specific order?
You can choose because
okay,
Dead Man Switch is when you're destroyed. So yeah, you easily do the hit first.
You just take the hit first. All right, everybody's taking a hit. All right, who doesn't have shields? You're all taking crits now. There you go, baby.
Yeah.
Merry fucking Christmas. And I wonder, now I kind of wonder, can you put IG-11 on any of those other Hawks and just make them little bombs, right? Like,
I believe so, actually. Yeah.
Can I put it on Kanan? Can you put it on Kanan?
The point should fit. Yeah, absolutely.
That's excuse me. That sounds dirty.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the last thing that we have on here is Sebastian Carbadini. He had I would call it a little bit of a salad list in the Galactic Republic. He had Hound with Corky Kreese, Satine Kreese, and 7th Fleet Gunner. Oddball with Dedicated Ion Cannon Turret, Veteran Turret Gunner, R4 Astromech, and Baffle. Mace Windu only with R2D2. And then Ayla Sakura with Brilliant Invasion, Patience, Marksmanship, Jamming Beam, R4, and a shield upgrade on here. Really interesting to have this kind of combination here for the Republic in a salad list. The Corky Kreese was something that was interesting because, as I understand his ability, he helps you modify a hit into a crit if you're using a secondary weapon for his ability. But I have to double check that.
Yeah, that's definitely different. I've not seen Corgi being ran, but I guess I could kind of see it. So
yeah.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about GenCon. We got a few minutes left. I don't want to go too late tonight. Because JJ will fall asleep on me, and B, I haven't hung out with my dogs much.
So I was wrong. After friendly ship in your forward front arc, the 180 arc at range 1 and 2 becomes a defender, you can transfer a green token to it. And while a friendly ship at range 1 and 2 defends, if you obstruct the attack, the defender rolls 1 additional defense die. So this encourages you to send Hound in towards the center to obstruct the shot, and then have your other ships lag behind to give them additional defensive dice.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Again, that's a neat little thing that we've not seen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about Gen Con, right?
Yeah.
We have Gen Con coming up. If you're going to Gen Con and you want to hang out, you can use our Discord is probably the easiest, unless Greg's going to create a meetup thread on his Discord, then we'll just use Greg's Discord. But I am going to Gen Con, and I will be down there. We are leaving probably about 11:30 on Thursday, and I will be getting down there probably between 5 and 6 o'clock is my guess. I am playing Friday, so I will probably be busy. I found out yesterday that we're going to play fucking 6 rounds, even though that's stupid. So I'm not super, I'll tell you, I'm not excited by that, especially because the cap for every day is 64 people. Like, maybe we should look at the AMG site, right? Because, like, I don't remember, like, I thought they had regulations for that, didn't they?
I think it's based on the event because different venues have different times for when they shut down. So I think it's based on the venue.
Because I was hoping for 5 rounds. Like, I was genuinely hoping for 5 rounds. Because okay, think about it this way. If you lose 2 games, so let's say you go 0-2, you're just going to drop. And then we're going to get stuck with, like, so if we have 40 players and that's it, and like 20% of the field drops, and then the next round, 20% more drops, then there's going to be nobody left. Like, why are we freaking playing 6 rounds? You know, you're giving me more opportunity to lose.
I think if they have less players than the capacity for each day, then at that point they'll probably make the adjustment for less rounds at that point. But I don't know. It would be a TO decision at that point.
Well, hopefully D talks about it on their podcast this week. I would like to know, because to me that's a big thing. Like, not that I don't want to play 6 rounds of X-Wing, because I do like that. It was fun when we did it at Adepticon, but that was a long day, and I didn't get to do anything else at all that day.
Yeah, we were exhausted after that, right? We just went to like the only thing that was open and ordered, like food and drinks. Yeah,
we got drinks and dinner, and then we were done, and then we had to be back the next morning early for the next thing, you know. So then you and I went back, and we had a couple drinks at the hotel room, and then passed out,
followed by the police and everything over at the hotel.
Yeah. So if you, I like I said, if anybody wants to hang out, or if people are going to be around the convention area, you know, my plan, you know, Thursday night is to probably just like chill around. I'm going to probably walk the convention a little bit, see if there's any cool promo stuff I can still grab, even though that's later in the day. And especially because like Marvel Champions, if they're handing out like Marvel Champions stuff, I'll just tell you right now, like I will be over at that booth getting my Marvel Champions on. If they're running live Marvel Champions games Thursday night, that's where I'll be. So you can come find me there.
So the big question here, because I know that you are a former big Destiny player, will you be playing Destiny at Gen Con?
If I don't make cut, if I don't make cut for Sunday, yes. If I make cut for Sunday, no. So my goal is to make cut so I don't have to play Destiny. Because I really would like that World's Qualifier. But I mean, if you watch the game from tonight, you can see that, you know, probability of making cut is probably a lot lower. But I have had more practice with the list I'm going with. But either which way, I do kind of actually want to, because they're doing a FFG standard tournament at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. Now that means my dumb ass has to get up early to get there. I don't like that. But at the exact same token, it is from like the FFG days. So like I don't have to own any of their new cards or any of their new things. All I have to do is bring it, and I can just go ahead. It's $10 and I can go have fun. And if I lose and I don't want to keep playing, I could just walk away, because I don't care about prize support for that. Like, I'll never use it again. I literally just own everything for Destiny. Like, all of the original sets, I own every one of the cards. I have promo cards. I have special, like, custom mats, everything. I will have to bring my, I have a Mr. Bones mat, which That's like a discussion. We need a Mr. Bones crew for Tim and Wexley. That's what the fuck I need. Even though he never flies with him, I want Tim and Wexley to have a Mr. Bones crew. Because Mr. Bones was my favorite character in Destiny. Like, and I won the mat, but at a local like store. Like
Nice.
I like made top, of, I don't know, we had like 10 people or something like that, but I won with my Ewok deck, which everybody hates. Because my
I mean,
Ewok deck was just a burn deck.
hey, Ewoks are coming for Legion. I mean, it's thematic. So let's talk about the like list that we're going to expect here. Now, based on all the different tournaments that we've seen so far leading up to this event here, what are your expectations for like styles of list that you're going to like encounter here at Gen Con?
Well, Vader. I'm just gonna say people are gonna run Defender Vader and X1 Vader. Like if you're running an Empire list, you're gonna be running Vader. I don't think there's gonna be anybody that runs a list without Vader. Like if you ran Empire, you might see the two. We saw like the two
Decimators.
Decimators, and that didn't have Vader in it. But I think that's unique to Europe. I think even in the one Decimator list, we're seeing either Rexler Brath or a Vader Defender.
Okay.
So my prediction is that we're going to see a lot of Vaders. And I also will predict Vader Defender will not win. It will not win. That is my solid prediction that they will not win. If they do win, I don't know. We should put a weight. Will you want to bet me, JJ? I like to bet. I like gambling.
How about we break this down by factions, right? Let's go by the factions and we'll go by over predictions here. So we'll start off with the Empire since we're on there. So in terms of the top pilot, obviously Vader is going to be the one that we're going to see the most there. What about like a surprise pilot that you think that will make a cut?
Surprise pilot Vizier, but I guess that's not really surprise. I think Wrestler Brath is probably your surprise. I mean, that's probably the most out of the ordinary pilot we're gonna see make cut, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree that was actually going to be my pick here, seeing Rexler Brath come in as a surprise hit. The other one I would have said would have been like Pure Sabak, kind of making more of a splash, especially with especially if you have like the Ruthless combo with Deadman Switch on Jingoist. I think that is a pretty good way to get that in. Now for the Rebels, now with the decline of the Alpha Strike list, like making cut across the board here, and actually I see that on the chat. Do you still think we'll see that type of archetype here for the Rebels?
Yes. Yep. I think in America, I think it's popular enough we're going to see it. I think a lot of the Rebel players that I know of will create some sort of Alpha Strike. We might see a variation. For example, Nick from 312, I know is not running an Alpha Strike per se. But he is running Rebels. And how about this? I will predict Fen Rao will appear at Gen Con in Rebels, not in Scum.
As in Sheathipede, or we're talking about Fang Fighter?
Fang Fighter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
yeah, let's go prediction.
Yep. To answer the question, Sandy, I do believe that we will see some Alpha Strikes, and I believe one will make cut. So I have I have a feeling that one of those will make cut. Though I wonder if Marcel's going to run 4 of those U-Wings just because that made cut.
That was actually my surprise list too. The 4 U-Wing list I think has a lot of legs, and I would actually be interested to see how well it does at Gen Con here for Rebels.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I don't own 4 U-Wings. I would actually run a list like that. That's kind of up my alley. But I don't know. I own 1. I don't ever fly Rebels either. That's not there's too many people in my local that fly Rebels, so for me to fly Rebels, like it doesn't make any sense.
You have more to borrow, right?
I do. You're right. I do, but I have nobody to practice against. It'd be like, oh, you want to face against this Rebel list? You want to face against this Rebel list? You want to go against this Rebel list? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so going over to Scum, we've been seeing a lot more popularity here with the fire sprays. The double fire sprays are making a huge impact here for Scum. What are your thoughts on the pilots or combos that we're going to see?
Well, it seems like people are shying away from boba more and running dual fire sprays with another beef piece. And I'll be honest, like, so I guess we could give away what I'm going to run in a few minutes, but um or what I have been practicing to run. I guess that's what I
Yeah.
should say, because I might swerve just to fuck with people and just to piss JJ off. Um, and then at least I have an excuse if I lose, right? I think people are shying away from boba, and I think that's kind of a mistake. I really think boba really should be one of the centerpieces in Scum right now. I'm okay with them shying away from it though, because I don't want to see boba go back up in points. Because having boba be there, I mean, and again, I get that boba's this big menace, right? He gets these rerolls, but without the Slave 1 title that he can't use anymore, it doesn't make him quite as powerful, right? And I think losing the Slave 1 title, leaving Boba at the 9 points, I almost would argue a little bit Boba. There's a possibility of dropping loadout and bringing Boba down to 8. But and I'm gonna get a million flurry people yelling at me. But I think Boba really is a big key here. So if you're gonna run a dual fire spray list with Boba, you don't have much room left. But I think Boba, just kind of like Jango Fett is, Boba with smaller pieces. Kind of makes sense. I would actually even advocate, can you run, so what's 9 and 8 together?
17.
I just lost your video.
17.
So all right, so that doesn't make sense. I was gonna say, because if you could run Boba, Gamut, Paylob, and then one other thing, that would be really cool.
Okay.
But I don't think that's logical. I don't think that's a logical take. But I think Boba, I think the double fire sprays are prominent. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw somebody bring a surfing fins list, but I think that's just, I think you're going to see a lot of Manaru, and I think you're going to see a lot of Koshka and Kath. Like, I think those are the two, and Eamon. I think that's what you're going to see. And I don't think people are not running Mando as much. I just don't see Mando being ran quite as often. So
yeah, and I do think that there's a big potential for Cad Bane on Scum to make a splash in a Scum list. However, it's been a little difficult to see a list that's been reliable to like do well or perform well against a lot of things out in the field. I think that right now Scum has a plethora of big beef ships. And what I mean by that is, like, you take a look at like the Jumpmaster with Dengar, Manaru's been really popular as well. These are cheap ships that can survive quite a few attacks and still put out a lot of damage on their own. Han Solo is a ship, or rather the YT-1300 is a ship that I do expect to see more of from Scum. Because they do have pilots with Lando and Han that can do a lot with their chassis and cover a lot of grounds, which helps about for like assaults or chance engagements, and helps them keep them in the fray and still survive with a lot of health and still do a lot of attack back. But I just haven't seen a list that can involve a lot of smaller ships, like a 4 to 5 ship list that's reliable and taking and being effective in the current meta right now. So as much as I do like Cad Bane, I don't think we'll see more than maybe 2 or 3 appearances in Scum overall for Cad Bane.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, moving on over to the Resistance. Resistance definitely has a few, and I'm saying this just based off of the list that I've been seeing through Nickel City's league. Resistance actually has a few different options there. The Resistance Y Wings, I think, are really, really underrated. I think that's they have a lot of utility in being able to cover a lot of the fields, cover a lot of objectives, and still be really effective with ion cannons and bombs. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think you're going to see Poe, and I think you're going to see a lot of Y-Wings. I think that's going to be, that's the big key there, is Y-Wings with bombs or Y-Wings with missiles. And I think bombs seem to be the more effective because you can have the turret and the bombs. Yeah. I feel the smart move in Resistance is to do that. I think you're going to see 1 million fins. Yeah. You're going to see 1 million fins. I hate Finn. Fucking Finn should die. And all I can say, if there's a certain person listening, if we face off against each other and you get your Finn close enough, where he gets 3 dice, to be able to have that 4, you're getting an Emon Proximine. Like I'm gonna ensure your Finn is gonna get bombed. I hate Finn so much. Just hate him. I don't think he's a 3-point ship. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, I agree with you. Finn is a very, very good ship. Even post nerf, he is still a really big survivable or a really good survivable ship that can do a lot of work. And yeah, I was surprised to see him drop to 3 points because of his utility. But yeah, I think he was probably going to be tied for the most popular pilot on Resistance, hands down, other than Poe Dameron. Honestly, yeah.
I also think we'll see a little bit. We'll see some death ray, like some death ray pose. I think we will. I think we'll see like that pose ZZ ray combo. I still think that's pretty potent personally. I think it's just you have to know how to fly it, and like I'm not good at that. So
Now, the one thing I am surprised that we don't see more of is more A-wing list here for the Resistance. Now, I understand that there are more cheaper options that give you different, or at least more ships on the board, than what they're currently priced at right now for the Resistance A-wings. However, I still think that there's still a lot of utility with A-wings to, especially in objective play, to be useful in the meta. There's a couple of lists that, or sorry, there's 1 or 2 lists that I've seen that have potential to do a lot of work if you're able to get enough practice in. But I would like to see a lot more A wings make more of a splash for the Resistance going forward.
yeah, I think they're just too expensive. I just think that's what it is. I think the problem becomes is there's a few of them in there that are more expensive than they need to be, which I shouldn't say that because again I'll get crucified at some point for saying that. But I think some of them are more expensive than they need to be, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
But I don't want to see too much of a change because we got new Poe in a fucking YT 1300 coming, and he's gonna be like the new fucking Dash, and I just hate. I don't like that.
Well, I mean, he won't be. I while he does have some of the same abilities, I don't think that he'll be as overpowered as Dash was. Because number one, he doesn't have a 4-die gun, and then number two, he's going to be limited on what type of maneuvers he's going to be able to take later on. Because you remember the out of all the dials for the YT 1300, the Resistance one is the worst one out of all the Falcons. So I think that lowers the power level down a bit. It's still predictable, but yeah, we'll see how that works out. Now, going over to the First Order, obviously the big hotness right now is Crispy's list here with Kylo, the 2 FOs, and then the 2 FO bombers with Scale Bombardier and Chaff. Besides that, do you see any other viable list for the First Order here?
Oh yeah, honestly yes. Like I think people are sleeping on Silencer Kylo like crazy, and especially we are not in a let's just take objectives meta. We are in a well, hold on. Do we take objectives or do we murder things meta? Like, and there is, and again, my game earlier is a very big demonstration of that. I was forced to move in a different position than I wanted to get objectives to do that. Otherwise, I would have lost more stuff because of objectives. And that's big, right? My list that I had earlier tonight was a kill bot. It's just a kill list. Like it's just I'm running a version of that TLT or twin label turret, whatever the hell you used to call it. Like that's a version of that. Like I was trying to recreate that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, just automatic damage. Yeah.
Yep. And anyway, so long story short, I think that Kylo Silencer is back. I think there's a huge potential for that to put him in a silencer. I also think that I like Crispy's list, but he avoids the Gideon, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've seen kind of a resurgence of Phasma. Phasma's becoming more popular. So I think we'll see combinations of Phasma and like Gideon in some way, shape, or form, because you can start just killing Gideon off with Phasma stuff. And Phasma is just an aggressive shot. Like Phasma is something it's the same. It's again, Phasma is a targeting nightmare, right? Like, do you shoot at her and then she just gives everything away? Like, oh,
Yeah.
here's some damage to Gideon that you're refusing to shoot at, you know? I don't know. Like, I think there's again, I wouldn't say a Kylo, Phasma, Gideon list, but I would say you're gonna either see Kylo and some ties, or you could see Kylo, a Von Reg, and something else, right? Like, I think there's potential there at 7 and 6 and 5. There's some good potential ace type lists that could come out of FO that I think are just being slept on.
Yeah.
Personally. I
Yeah,
think
for me,
you could run Midnight, can't you?
yeah, you could actually.
Yeah.
And she was going to be one of the pilots I was going to reference, but one of the other underutilized ships for the FO right now is Hollow. Hollow is very affordable in the FO list. Can do a ton of work by passing off tokens and taking away negative tokens. And she can. It's still a 3 die gun attack at initiative 5. I think that we should see more lists with Hollow being used in the mix. The 4 ship first order list can be very viable if you have very good aces that can essentially be self sufficient, or at least be somewhat synergistic with each other. And Hollow is definitely a very, very good candidate for that style of list there. And Midnight, I think, can do a lot of work as well, being able to deny mods with the target locks. The only thing for her though is that she does need help in terms of getting mods, because you're usually spending your action to get that target lock to go onto it. You can still equip her with Fanatical, and the chance that she gets the shield knockoff, and that's at least a passive single focus to hit change. But I think that is a good way to lock down a particular list, or lock down a particular ace and prevent them from using mods, and start chipping away at that ship, and do well.
You could run Kylo Silencer, Ember, Hollow, and Phasma. Just as
That's
an
good.
FYI. Like, just so you know.
Yeah, that's really good actually. If I could squeeze out 5 points from there, I would actually put in Malorus just to have the conversion from blanks. So that would be really good. Malorus
Malorus.
on the She shuttle,
You could do that.
and add Terex on it, and you give out calculates.
Okay, so Malorus fits in there.
That'd be great.
Malorus is 4 points, buddy. You could run Malorus, Hollow, Kylo, and the Silencer. Like Silencer Kylo and Ember. There you go. You could do that. There you go. Can I get that list? Let's have that list win. That's what I want. There's my prediction. That's not going to happen. Anyway.
So going on over to the Republic. So the Republic, over the last few tournaments, we've seen a decline in the Republic, kind of not making cut as consistently as the other factions have been doing as of late. Do we see number one? Do we see the Republic actually make cut?
Yes,
and
we do.
What list is the one going into cut?
We're going to see some sort of a Hawk and Jedi list. Maybe with a contrail. I like Hawks, Jedis, and contrail. Really, that's where I would go with that. And I'm not sold. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sold on Hawk because it's an I4. I've been used to running Hound with an I2 in that, but like in my game, it worked out very well to have that. The Hawk was the best person in the whole game. Just period. Just like hands down, he's better than all those homing torpedoes.
Yeah.
But I feel we will see a Hawk, some sort of a Hawk, and we'll really, like, what's kind of good is a Hawk and a Y-wing and contrail, like Hawk, Anakin, contrail, and something else, like either a mace. Right. I don't think you can fit Obi, so I think it's either a mace or an Ahsoka. But that's kind of what I see. I mean, no, can you fit mace in there or Obi in there?
Yeah.
You can, but then you don't have enough. You have extra points. Okay.
Yeah.
Either which way, but I see like the kind of the salad, the Republic salad, but you're gonna see a lat. And I don't think you see a Republic list without a lat right now. I just don't think you do. And I think that medium base providing rerolls is just way too fucking good not to run. Like it's just
Yeah.
really hands down. And you either have to burn that lat down and you're getting 5 points for it. That's it. You're gonna waste 6 shots, 5 shots, maybe if you're lucky, 4 if you're really lucky. Yeah, and that so I feel that so what I feel is I feel Republic's a little bit underpowered right now, a little bit. But I feel the correction was on point with it. And I feel that people used to be able to run Republic and it was just willy-nilly. Like, here you go. Anybody can run Jedis because I could shoot range 0 and mod my dice. You know? Like, oh, I'm shooting 2 dice range. Oh, there's hit crit. There you go. Because I got a force and I got 6 of the fucking things. So, you know, like I don't have to worry about it. So I think they figured out how to knock some of the power down, and I think we could bring it back a little bit. Not in the lats. The lats will never see a decrease ever. But now, I think I do think genuinely think that there will be some Republic lists in Top Cut.
Do you think that the Z95s are good enough to make a list to make Top Cut?
Not in a swarm like I ran them.
Okay.
I how about this? I think my list as a swarm type list in a better person's hand who has a lot of practice, I feel that could be very potent. I really do. But I'm a little biased because I've actually been running that since I released the Z95s to some extent. In some version of that, I have been running that type of a list because I like the auto damage that I get because it reminds me of a burn deck. You know, like in Magic the Gathering. So I like that. But I think everybody's so beefed up right now. Like and one of the mistakes I made was I had a range 1 shot I gave a crit to that didn't kill one of the ships because it had a fucking hull upgrade.
Yeah.
And if I had shot 3 dice with fire convergence and a target lock.
Yeah. Yeah. That, and if it was a standard list, then the whole upgrade would have not been there. So that could have potentially killed that. But yeah, you're right. Having that whole upgrade was. I
will tell you, my list does very well against large base type ships because and if I keep it in close enough formation to kill large bases, I think it does really well. It does not do well against alpha strikes though. That it does not, or bombs.
Yeah. So, beyond that, do you think that there is still room for the Y-Wings and the ARC 170s to make it enough of a difference for the Republic?
I think ARC 170s are slightly overpriced for what they do in Republic.
Okay.
We've tested that in our locals, and they don't work as well as if they had 2 green dice, everything would be different. But they don't. Yeah. So they die a little too quickly for their own good.
Okay. And then going on to the last faction, the Separatists, we have seen a resurgence of the Separatist Alliance taking a few of these tournaments so far, and actually making the top cuts here. So what do you think we're going to see more of? Are we going to see 2 aces plus filler, or are we going to see more of a 3-ship ace list?
You're going to see filler. You're going to see Django and ships. You're going to see Cad, Django, Grievous, and a droid. You're going to see I bet you're going to see that Cad, Grievous droid list. I bet that will be there 100%. And in fairness, that I don't think that list was running in Adepticon because I can't remember if Cad Bane was out then.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. But there was a version of that did pretty well at Adepticon. And I think they gave Separatists a pretty big buff. But I think the difference with Separatists, and this is why I will never agree that they should be raised in cost again, is because Separatists, for the most part, are somewhat luck-based to some extent, minus the bombers, right? Like, I don't get target locks and calculates. I don't have a coordinator as easily as everybody else does. And I think that's the big thing. Like, if they ever drop that droid down that coordinate for a calculate, down to 2 points. Then droids would probably be a little bit OP. But my theory is you're going to see Jango 100%. I would love to see Jango Boba Fett. I actually want to run that personally, but I probably should not. But Jango Boba Fett is like kind of like that's a fun list, and I don't think we're going to see a lot of Zam personally. I think we might see we might see a Jango VTG and then a Zam list just for the double tapping, because double tapping fire sprays are really good. But I think you are relying so much on dice luck that it's just not as good. I think that's the problem, you know.
So in this current meta right now for Zam, right? I know she's 9 points and Jango Fett being 7. That big that 2 point difference there. I mean, are you always reaching? Do you think Zam even has a place right now for Separatists, or is she just too overcosted for what she provides?
I feel she's a little overcosted, personally.
Okay. Do you think that she would see more play if she was 8 points?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because you could run, and give me illicits. Like, I want some jingoists on my fucking team. Give me some fucking 2 die, 3 green dice fucking illicits. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think if Zam was, you would see a Zam Jango list with 2 droids. I think that you would see that.
Yeah.
I'll give me a Boba at 6 points. How about them apples? That's gonna piss everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the fire spray base having a forward and rear arc of 3 die guns by itself being 10 health, I think is more. It doesn't warrant it being 6 points. I don't think it would ever go down that low, honestly.
I don't think so
Now,
either.
if they expand your points to like 40 and basically have a little more granularity, then maybe like the equivalent of that. But yeah, no, I don't see the fire sprays being anywhere near that price point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just waxing poetic. Yeah, I think Zam's overcaught. I don't, because if you take Zam and put Zam and Boba together, if you just don't shoot at Zam is just like you have to be there's too much variability, because if you do shoot at Zam but you picked a card that doesn't give you the double tap or give the target, it's just, I don't know. It's a little like there's not enough, I don't think, in that with Zam to warrant the 9 points, I guess. I understand why. Like, I think you just drop some of the loadout and bring her back down to 8. I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I think the reason they don't is because if you had Zam at 8 points, would you ever run Jango again?
Yeah, I feel if Zam is 8 points, I would still consider Django, just because you have room to play probably a different ace for the CIS, or fit just one more droid into your list if you're looking to fill it out with like vultures or hyenas. That 1 point difference makes a huge difference, I think.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine? Because don't we have some Magna droids too at 4 points?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Magna Guard Executioner. Too bad that Protectorate didn't go down. Give me that Protectorate, Zam, and Jango. There you go. Give me an OP Zam list.
Yeah.
I should be the one in charge of points. All right. Well, with that being said, really, I think there's not much more to talk about. I think that's what you're gonna see. If you are at GenCon and you want to hang out, just message us. You know, like I said, I mean, I'll be honest, I probably won't hang out with Greg all the time, but I won't lie and say that I'll probably be around Greg more often. I only have 3 people from my locals going. The 4th one is bringing his girlfriend, so I can't imagine that we're going to see much of them. John, if you're listening, you do want to hang out, let me know though. But
is she playing?
No, I highly doubt it. Maybe. I don't know. I never asked, actually.
That would be great. Yeah.
I've never met his girlfriend, so but I don't know if they're coming down for the whole tournament, if they're only coming down Friday night and staying Saturday. because he is playing Saturday, so I don't know if they're gonna if they're gonna come down Thursday. I don't think they're coming out Thursday. So,
Okay.
with that being said, I think the metas are a little bit different, and I think maybe that's a discussion we can have after we have Gen Con. But my prediction is our meta here in the USA is different than the meta in Europe. I really do think that, because we've seen more scum out of Europe than we have in America, right? And everybody's running Crispy's stupid list, which I don't know if Crispy, if you made that list, congrats, like you should get an award. If you and maybe you should be banned from X-Wing for a little while for making that list, because I hate that list with a passion.
His new hotness right now is the electroproton bomb. Man, that is a very, it is an upgrade that has the potential to change an entire game. Definitely, and that's his new baby right now that he's working on. But yeah, no doubt, Crispy, you are a really good list builder, and hope you do well at Gen Con as well. I know that you'll be going over there.
Is Crispy going? Really?
Yeah, he's sponsored by Hexile. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
How did he get it? All right. Anyway. Hey, Crispy, if you want to hang out, that's great. I did not know Crispy was going. So, Catherine said they were going. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll have a Nickel City reunion. I know Greg's having a party Saturday night. The problem is I think his Airbnb is nowhere near my damn hotel. So I'm gonna have to spend $40 fucking in a Uber.
I'm sure.
Or find a sober person to drive me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure there's gonna be people going in mass, so you can catch a ride.
Maybe, hopefully. All right. Anyway, anything else you have, JJ, before we sign off for the night?
Are we going to cast next Sunday? Is a question. Probably not, right?
So I'm gonna say we're probably not gonna cast Sunday. We could cast Monday or Tuesday night. So I think we might still cast next week, but I do not think it'll be Sunday. I'll be honest. I again, I will message you if I'm back in town by 5:00, we'll cast.
Okay.
But I have a friend coming in from Detroit on Saturday with his brother, and I've known them since high school. So there's a possibility I might crash on their hotel floor Sunday night, and let my buddy take my car back, and or do I don't know, do something. But I haven't 100% figured out what I want to do Sunday. So how about this? Let's just say we're not going to cast next Sunday. We'll just make the decision now. We're not going to cast next Sunday. And I apologize because that means there's no XCC cast that'll probably happen at all this week unless JJ casts something this weekend. And then we will revise. We will come back and do a Gen Con. We'll do a Gen Con stream middle of the week, early to middle-ish of the week is what we'll aim for. So,
all right.
When are you moving? You're moving too soon.
It'll be the week of the 20th. Will be or the 21st rather is my moving week. So I will be gone probably for 1 to 2 weeks, just dealing with the move.
Okay. So let's definitely try and cast middle of the week. So I apologize for anybody that regularly listens or joins us in the chat. Like, I just don't want to commit to Sunday night. I just don't want to commit to Sunday night and then get back at like 8:30 and then rush the setup and stuff like that. So let's if you're okay, let's cast in the middle of the week. I think that's a good thing. Because I probably won't go to my local on Monday. When I went to Adepticon, I was burnt out on X-Wing and didn't want to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll cast earlier in the week and then do a recap of Gen Con. And maybe we'll invite a bunch of people on. Maybe that's what we'll do is we'll see who wants to join us from Gen Con to talk about all the crazy stories. So if you're going and you want to be a part of the crazy stories, message JJ or I now. We're going to create a list for anybody that wants. We'll open it up. If you went to Gen Con and you have a camera, an okay camera and an okay mic that doesn't pick up a bunch of background noise, message one of you can join the show. I don't give a shit. I'll make this like a Brady Bunch fucking Matrix here.
That'd be great.
And we'll just have everybody. I'll probably be very silent and I'll be controlling the audio.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, cool. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. If you have not liked us on Twitch, make sure you like us. That means every time we go live, we say, hey, folks, we're live, baby. You can also follow us on Discord. You can follow us on YouTube. And again, we apologize. No XCC streams at all this week. None whatsoever. No Nickel City streams either. We are not going to be streaming any Nickel City games as we are off on a bye week. But with that being said, we will be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And we'll post when we'll be back. I'll let everybody know ahead of time. But we will be back next week with more Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all. Have a good night and hope to see you at GenCon.
See ya.